It's 2076. You slip up in the kitchen and slice your hand open. You should have let your Mr. Handy do the cooking, but now you're bleeding pretty bad. If you don't get help, you're dead. So you head to Watoga Emergency Services, and that's where all of your trouble starts. The Watoga Emergency Services building is located towards the center of Watoga and housed the police, fire, and medical departments all under one roof. The entire building was automated, like the rest of Watoga. Using any of the terminals in the lobby allowed a citizen to input what brought them there, and give instructions on what to do next. After riding the elevator to the first floor, a Watoga resident would see a front desk manned by a robot. A waiting room sat near the front desk, and the hallways led to medical rooms where robot doctors would tend to any ailment or injury the citizens of Watoga would have. This is nothing new in pre-war America, as many hospitals had robots available to assist doctors. But this is Watoga, where all humans were replaceable. There were few, if any, doctors in the building at all. This means the only way a person was getting life-saving treatment was at the hands, claws, or saw blades of a Protectron or Mr. Handy. The second floor was much of the same, more medical and surgery rooms. No cafeteria, and no lounges for the non-existent employees, though there were bathrooms for the patients. In fact, the only confirmed human employee in the building was a maintenance worker named Oscar, who kept the robots in the best shape that he could. Funding was being cut more and more, so replacement parts, bots, and more staff for the facility was out of the question. You may be thinking, surely these were the best bots money could buy for such crucial, life-saving work. Well, the maintenance employee mentions that some of the bots were only a model or two newer than the Mr. Handy prototypes, and were so old that they couldn't be connected to the Watoga mainframe. You know, the thing that would run everything in the city. So how did the facility work? If you called the automated phone line, you were instructed to head over to the Emergency Medical Services building directly, where you would submit a report at one of the kiosks in the lobby, or use one of the terminals on the first floor. You'd start by selecting the service you needed, and then the nature of your emergency. For example, if you witnessed a murder, you would select police report, violent crimes, and then murder. What does that give you? An error message, instructing you to file a physical report at the front desk before returning you to the main menu. Now, from that main menu, you could file a complaint, but that too is inaccessible and leads you to filing a physical complaint at the front desk. Oh, by the way, the bot at the front desk wasn't always there. It sometimes was in the repair shop. And this loop of reports and complaints wasn't caused by the bombs falling, or Watoga being destroyed by the robots that once protected it. Terminals in the building were full of horror stories of people who were caught in this hellish cycle. One man was shot in the leg, called the automated phone line, and was instructed to come to the Emergency Services building. While bleeding out from a gunshot wound, he spent 7 hours filling in reports, speaking to the front desk robot that, by the way, he had to track down in the repair shop just to be told to file another report, and the cycle started again. Another person was hit by a bus and almost died. They called and filled in a report over the phone, only to be told to come in to complete the same report in person, including all of the information that was already provided over the phone. Now, if a resident was able to get a report in and a robot actually responded to their emergency, the services that were received were about as bad as you'd expect. A little girl's cat was stuck in a tree. The Protectron firefighter helped retrieve it by shooting it down. A man ran to the Emergency Services building to report a fire in his apartment, but it was deemed small enough for him to handle himself. He returned to his apartment, where the fire had grown much larger, and had to run back to Emergency Services to fill out another report for the larger fire, and by the time the Protectron firefighters arrived, there was nothing left to save. And last but certainly not least, a resident reported a burglary and included an image of the culprit that was taken from their security camera. A week later, the police, Mr. Handy's, had found the criminal and asked the resident to come in to identify them. Not only did the bots mistakenly bring in the victim's neighbor as the one responsible, they had shot and killed the guy instead of bringing him into custody. It's no secret that the robots in Watoga were a detriment to the people who lived there, long before a disgruntled Robco employee reprogrammed the robots to inadvertently attack and kill all of the residents. The robots were doing just fine killing people on their own accord through inaction or straight up murdering someone. And as for that cut of yours, you may be better off just taking care of it at home.